Hello. Okay, now we're supposed to be live. Can you hear me? Right. Fortunately, I cannot see perfect, but this will be the situation. I know we should have a mic now. It's not the original plan, but just bear with me. Okay, I think I'm ready to start after half an hour technical issues. Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Ray. This is the Late Smoke, and we are already late with half an hour. Apologize about it. I did quite a lot of testing this earlier today, yesterday, but unfortunately, it looks like my testing was not really testing. I don't know what I was doing, but yes, we are now with the live show, first episode. I mean, there will be some glitches. Apologize about that. But why this is why I'm doing this show? I have the plans for many years. I try with different channels in Instagram, in Zooms, etc., etc. I guess sooner or later I was heading towards the YouTube, and finally the YouTube is ready. It's on. Hey, Steven. Is it Steven? No, that's Tim. I hope, Tim, if you can give me a finger thumb up if you can hear me. I think the audio should be fine now. But yeah, the whole idea with YouTube will be I'll try to post as much as content as I can. Yeah, thanks, Peter. I try to post as much as possible content. We'll try to do once a week a live show where I'm going to discuss different topics, different ideas I have in mind. And yeah, so thanks everyone, whoever joining. And what I'm smoking, I tried to explain in the previous stream. I'm smoking JC Newman Diamond Crown Black Diamond, which is, I believe this is discontinued cigar already. It's not exist since 2022. That was, it was made only for about 10-12 years with this band and this blend. Nowadays is a little bit different band, different blend. Back in the time, they used to make it older version, which is also was different blend. But what's interesting for the cigar, as you know, maybe all the JC Newman cigars in Dominican Republic, they're made by Fuente family in the Fuente factory. So this is a Connecticut Habano wrapper. So it's not a broadleaf, it's a Habano seed, which is not a lot of companies using. So yeah, well, I'm going to talk a lot, so my cigar will probably need relighting from time to time. So yeah, what I was saying is Connecticut Habano wrapper with Nicaraguan binder, Dominican binder, Dominican filler, medium strength. I wouldn't put it stronger as its look. It's a proper Maduro dark cigar, but it's not the strongest one. So that's about the cigar tonight. While I'm drinking, I will drink tea. So I have just a Earl Grey, which is usually go well with the stronger Maduro cigars. I was thinking that would be a Maduro cigar, stronger, but no, maybe I was too nervous in some point because that live streamer didn't work. I literally have plan A, B, C, D, and none of those stuff working at the end. I don't know, somehow I managed to go through the whole thing. Obviously, it's not the ideal camera view. I will correct it next time when I know this is the setting. But yeah, let's talk about some stuff I mentioned already. So I'll try every show to start with news section. So what's happening in the last week or so in the cigar world? Everything what I found interesting, and I think it's worth discussing. And I was planning few news already, but something which I've seen approximately an hour, 2 hours ago. It's a very fresh news. It's unfortunately is not a very good news. I've seen a video from Henderson Ventura's factory in Dominican Republic, where most of their Connecticut broadleaf wrapper is on fire. They were trying to stop the fire. I don't know if people follow Henderson in the social media. You can probably see the videos from the fire he posted. This is literally from a few hours ago. I don't know how bad is the situation. It look very very bad, but yeah. And if people don't know, Henderson was hit with a couple other fire situations quite recently. Last year, I think most of the cigars on the ready production was also on fire. There was another accident with the fire probably 2 years ago. So it's very very unlucky situation for the guys from Adventura and Henderson. But hopefully there's not a lot of people injured or even worse than that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you, Adam. So it's it's not very lucky thing for them, but so I'll carry on by the for the well. I don't have a pure scenario, but I'll carry on with the other ideas I have. One thing I want to talk about related to the news. So last week, Le Finlam, the guys with the French knives, released an information about finally they releasing their new knife, Le Tac, which is basically a smaller one with additional tack, which you can hey Andre, thank you, I'm here with the additional tag on the knife, so it's more like a jewelry, like a military dog tags. I think that's what they call them. It's I saw those cutters in Dortmund last year, I believe. And I like them, but I've never tried them. I mean, I tried the bigger one, the T100 in Dortmund. So far, few people I know have tried all those guillotines from Le Finlam. It's a little bit of mixed reviews. Some of the people says it's quite sharp. It's very very neat. There's a few other people which say it's not really sharp cutter. I personally haven't seen. I don't have one of them, so I don't have a big opinion on that. But even if there's a talks for not exactly sharp cutter and the price of 300 400 euro, I think it's not really nice. I don't want to buy a cutter for 300-400 pounds and then $1 or euro, and then the cutter will be a little bit sketchy. But yeah, that's interesting news on the accessories. There's another one from the accessories actually. So the other news from the accessory world is finally Steve Saka released his Guillotina de Saka, which is a guillotine cutter with the same idea, and as well very hefty price tag. It's around $400, $380, $400. Only very very selected retailers will be able to sell it. And the interesting thing with the Guillotina de Saka is coming with the spare blades, so you can replace them. So for me, that sounds like one of those knives, carpet knives, whatever they call them. You know, the blades where when you break it and you just replace it. And I don't know how good is the steel, but if you can replace the cutter that easy, I would not expect to cost 300-400 pounds. Yes, Andre. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's a Swedish steel. That's an interesting thing. I thought it's made in France. I reckon you talking about the Le Finlam. But I never heard the Swedish steel to be famous for something. So maybe I'm never been interested in steel that much. So who knows? But anyway, carry on for some of the next news. And the next one I want to talk about is Drew Estate officially release the new size of the Liga 10 Selección de Mercado. Yes, Selección de Mercado. They're releasing a new size Corona Viva, which is probably one of my favorite sizes of the Drew Estate cigars. It will be only for the international market. Cigar is actually not bad. I already smoked the cigar. We were lucky enough on the trade show, on the British trade show back in May. They give us a Robusto and Corona Viva. I've smoked both of them. They're good, but I have a little bit of a problem as well with this cigar. It's not a typical Liga Privada. For me, it's a quite mild cigar. And I expect when I smoke Liga Privada, T52, number 9, L40, any of the special Liga Unicus, to have a decent kick inside. So for me, it's a little bit tricky there. But we'll see. I hope they will have a success on that one because Drew Estate is a big company. They always do interesting projects. I don't know what will be the price on this Corona Viva yet in UK. We don't have them for sale yet. But yeah, Andre. Well, we're definitely gonna go to the booth again. I've tried the Black End, and I've tried two of the Black End. So I've tried the pre-release from the Freestyle pack. It was phenomenal cigar. That was last year. It's in my personal top 25 for the last year's smokes. And this year I've tried one of the already with the bands, and I don't know if we call them the original release or the normal release. It wasn't that exceptional as the previous one, but I have a couple more. So hopefully every other one I smoke will be a good one. And I got only one more news before I go to the section with the topics I choose to talk about today. The last section will be regarding a guy called Christopher May. I don't know how many people know him, but if anyone is in the industry, maybe Andre know him as well. Christopher May used to work for Rocky Patel for over 20 years. He was one of the main people in Rocky Patel. And super surprisingly, last week he announced his departure from Rocky and creating his own distribution company, which is a very interesting. And I want to mention that because I've seen quite a few people in the last months, I don't want to say years, but months, who've been heavily involved in either international distribution, either American distribution or marketing, or being a long-term employees of some of the cigar companies. And they living and creating their own distribution marketing companies, which is, I don't know, it's an interesting point, but there are so many companies. And Andre indicating something interesting. Maybe Rocky will be sold. That's a very interesting. I haven't think of that one, to be honest. But who's gonna buy it? Someone like STG? That's actually a very interesting topic we can talk about. I hope I'll manage to find some more info on the Intertabac. I don't think they will tell anyone, even if they want to sell. But who knows? Can be an opportunity, can be a possibility. But first time I heard this rumor, Andre. So if you can elaborate, maybe if you know more than me something, I'll be very, very interesting to find out. Either STG or the Chinese, since they want to focus on that market a lot. Well, I don't know. I tend to believe STG might be interested, as they're interested to buy everyone. but that won't be cheap. I mean, Rocky is not a close to size company to Peterson, to Room 101, Alec Bradley. I think Rocky is a way bigger company. In a significantly more markets internationally. Also making cigars in a few different countries. So I don't think that will be SDG. Maybe Chinese company will want to buy and invest. But in the meantime, when you're saying they'll buy them, do you think they'll change the name somehow? Because I don't think Rocky will Rocky will leave the company and leave his name on the company. I mean, I don't know. It happened a few times with some other companies, but this is a little bit different scenario, in my opinion, different case. So, but we'll see. We'll see. It's only rumors, guys. It's nothing confirmed. Again, me and Andre speculate. Andre is a very, very knowledgeable guy. It's a very good friend, and we can do a lot of rumors and speculations with him. So we'll see. Only the time will show. So I think we can talk a little bit about. I choose 3 topics to start the show. Some of them a bit of a controversial. Some of them maybe more interesting for the regular smokers. But we'll see. I'll try to do that kind of interesting topics every week. I also do my research. What kind of people, what kind of stuff people Google and search related to the cigars. So what's interesting for the people? That's one of the ways to choose the topics. I have that idea for ages, and I think might be interesting for the people. So the first topic I want to talk about is a very controversial, very, I don't know, maybe political. I don't want to call it political, but as I mentioned in the thumbnail when I was promoting the show, Bill Clinton. Yes, Bill Clinton. We're talking about the American president, the guy who was, I think, was a 43rd American president. There was a massive cigar scandal with him. I don't know if the people know. It's a lot of information, a lot of publicity. At the beginning, there wasn't any because he's an American president, but further later to the time when he was not in the politics anymore, there was a big announcement. There was actually a lot of paparazzi writings and everything, but basically the story was he had that sex scandal with Monica Lewinsky, and apparently he was smoking cigars in the White House. And Monica Lewinsky was doing something with another cigar. So you can guess what is it. I don't know how true is that, because obviously there's only 2 people involved in that one, and one of them says yes, one of them says no. But it's there was a big article in Cigar Aficionado back in the time that how bad that can be for the cigar industry, for the cigar smoking people. But I think there's no bad thing like a bad advertisement. I mean, come on. If people talk about cigars, especially nowadays, okay, back in the time, that's 30 years ago, maybe wasn't that good to talk about that. But now, I think every voice you've seen, every person who talk about cigars, it's only positive for us. But that on the side, Bill Clinton was one of the actually last presidents who have been seen smoking cigars publicly. Even playing golf, meeting with friends, he was smoking cigars. Which nowadays, I don't think anyone who is into the serious politics in some of the main countries around the world will be doing something like that. Which is a shame, because most of them probably still smoke, and they just don't want to be associated. A shame again. And also, there's a more and more countries wants to actually stop people doing that. But that will be another topic in the next shows, where I'm going to talk more about those legislations and all those I would say, stupid stuff related to where you can smoke, where you can't smoke, etc., etc. Um, so the next thing I want to talk about, there was already a bunch of people who were talking about it. There's no bad publicity having your cigar associated with a scandal. Yeah, I mean, Mace, I'm completely with you. In my opinion, there's no such thing as a bad advertisement, bad scandal. So the next thing I want to talk about was a very specific cigar. And why this cigar? Because this is claimed to be the most expensive cigar in the world. So we're talking about Gurkha, the Royal Courtesan, which I've checked a few different sources. They say the cigar cost between $1 and $1.4 million. They sell a lot of those cigars a year. There's no clear information how many of those are rolled and sold, but this is once again more than a million for one cigar. So the cigar is rolled with information. There's a few different information. Well, I'll try to answer to you. I don't know how many they actually sold on that price. There's not much information. There's a few sources. I ask random people. Not a lot of people know that. And also, I haven't seen an actual person who seen the cigar in life. So we all seen the picture with the gold cigar. But how many people seen the cigar live? I don't know a single person. And why the cigar is if someone doesn't know why the cigar is that expensive, so apparently they use tobacco which is grown in Himalayas, in Himalaya region, using very rare sources of water. There's a couple different informations here. One of the sources say they use in Himalayan water. The other source say using Fijian water. I don't know which one is true. I'm tend to believe it's Himalayan water. Why are you going to bring water from Fiji to the Himalayas to grow tobacco? It doesn't make any logical sense. So also the cigar is covered with gold. The buds have precious stones, diamonds, emeralds, etc. And the cigar being infused with Louis XIII black pearl cognac, which is something like $250,000 for a bottle. Again, such a waste. Why would you infuse a cigar with cognac that expensive? I mean, I know probably some people like infused cigars, but I personally not a massive fan of them. One of the few cigars I couldn't finish in my life was actually infused with cognac cigar. And it wasn't pleasant. It was on the same brand. I don't want this to be another show where people keep talking about Gurkha, etc. For me, was just mentioning that most expensive cigar, which, I mean, I'll be surprised if they sell more than, I don't know, 10, 15. Also, another thing I've read about this specific cigar, there's only one roller who rolled those cigars, and he's completely blindfolded, so he cannot see imperfections. He's only feel them with his fingers, which is probably another bedtime story. How, you can do that, I mean, don't see. I guess he can roll cigars without seeing it, but imperfections, I mean, if you I think you can actually roll the cigar with less imperfections if you can see. So how long the infusion lasts? That's a good question, Mace. I don't think the infusion lasts long. The only, again, if it's infusion with the cognac, maybe we need to find out how they infuse them, because certain cigars, like some of the Drew Estates acids, I think they're technically infused, but they all last for longer. And on the other side, if you try to infuse cigar at home, I've tried back in the time with coffee, with alcohol. They smell very nice. At the moment you lit the cigar, make like 5 or 10 puffs, it doesn't taste like the infusion anymore. So I don't know how you're gonna manage to. Maybe if it's a okay, if the leaves are soaked in that infusion, then dried out, it doesn't make sense for me. So it's a very very interesting topic. I will definitely research more. Maybe I'll do some more experiments and make some content, because I need to make a content now. It's not like me posting pictures now. Actually I need to make videos which have sound. Hey Sol, good to see you here. Okay, Adam says if you're infusing tobacco, you hiding the quality of the leaf you're using. I mean, maybe. I don't think if someone use a proper high grade, super expensive leaf, they will infuse it. Maybe they infuse tobacco which don't have a specific, interesting characteristics. Something more blunt, if you can call it that way. Maybe again some cheap tobacco which you already have it quite a lot of it, and you have not much of a use of it. But again, I don't think someone will infuse something like Mexican San Andres or Connecticut broadleaf or Nicaraguan Habano Maduro grown, that kind of stuff, which are very very aromatic, obviously different by himself, but they have plenty of flavors and qualities. So it's, who knows. I mean, if infusion is another thing where I can venture a lot and discuss a lot and talking with people. So how's everyone? Is anyone smoking, or is just myself? Yeah, exactly, Mace. If you have a great tobacco, why would you ruin it? Yeah, this cigar have a few construction issues. I mean, the one I'm smoking, but I relight it like 3 times because I need to talk, and when I'm talking, the cigar just gone off. I'm gonna have a sip of a tea. That's very nice, Mace. Fratello Inverso. Those were quite good cigars. So I haven't smoked one in ages. Okay, I think I can move to the next topic. There we go. Rocky Patel Vintage 1990. There we talk about Rocky Patel already a little bit. So, 1990 is probably one of my personal favorite Rocky Patel cigars. So, yeah, why not? It's a good cigar. Yeah, guys, sorry I don't look at the camera that much, but I need to check what's happening in the chat. Obviously my original setting didn't work out, so I'm gonna be looking into the chat. But the next topic, and probably one of the final topics for today, will be fleur de lis. What is a fleur de lis? So fleur de lis is a symbol. I don't think there's a single cigar smoker who have never smoked a cigar which don't have this symbol on his boxes or bands or anything in there. So fleur de lis is that lily flower which Monte Cristo use in his bands. Also, Tatuaje have it on his box. I asked Pete Johnson last night why he used fleur de lis on his boxes, because I was curious. I know I'm going to talk about fleur de lis. I want to try to give you some more information about it. So he says when he started the usage of the fleur de lis at the beginning, he was very curious, and also he liked the idea with that novelty and using that crest, if you can call it crest. I don't know if it's called the arms crest. Something, I don't know which one is the right for that fleur de lis, but yeah, he was fascinated with him. That's why he used it on his boxes. But is anyone here on the chat know why Monte Cristo use it? Where they get the idea? because I know I can tell you the story, but I want to see first if anyone know it. By the way, fleur de lis is not a new thing. It's not something Monte Cristo invented. That exists since the Vikings. Even before that, every major dynasty, every major um, civilization after the Vikings, they all use it in some way or form. So, okay, I've seen the people have no idea on some of those. So, might be interesting to tell you then. I mean, if it's, I hope that will be interesting. A little bit of a historical question. So, as we all know, probably all know, Monte Cristo as a brand started in 1935. It was created by Menendez, a gentleman from Cuba who was very inspired from the Count of Monte Cristo, Alexander Dumas' novel. Or, yeah, it's a novel. Yeah, I think so. So, which, by the way, I don't know if the people know why. So this will be a bracket on the brackets. Why back in Cuba a lot of brands are related to books, publications, or anything like that. So it's purely because when people are rolling cigars, all the ruleros, torcedores, ruleros, bonchero, etc. In Cuba is torcedores. When they were rolling the cigars, there was actually people in the rooms who were reading books for them. So they will not be like back in the time. There's no radio or anything like that. So they all need to concentrate. But in the meantime, you need to have something to calm you down, etc., etc. So they have people who were reading books, and that's why you have Romeo and Julieta, Punch, obviously Monte Cristo, all related to different books. But those people, el lector, what they call them in the factories, so their job was basically to read books for all the workers in the factory. So back to the fleur de lis. So that gentleman Menendez, he when he created Monte Cristo, he in the next year, so 1935, he created the brand Monte Cristo, and the next year, yeah, well, I've seen in the comments there's a yes, something to do with Dumas. It's not a Dumas related. Andre was talking about the Gurkha. I'll go back to that, Andre. Let me just finish the story about the Monte Cristo. So in 1935, Menendez creating the company called Menendez, Garcia, and Cia, and that was basically the start of the Monte Cristo properly. So in the next year, that gentleman get in touch with John Hunter Morris, who back in the time was he was one of the Morris and Elkin in UK. So that was the main importer on Monte Cristo in Britain. So if you remember, the current importer in UK, Hunters and Franco. So this is one of the two people, John Hunter. He was importing Monte Cristo already in the country, and he was given that task to create a band for the cigar. So he's the person who created the Monte Cristo band in his first variation. The brown band with the Monte Cristo, Havana, and Flor de Lis in the middle, which is very interesting because it's obviously Cuban company, Cuban band, but invented by an English guy. And just another bracket here. If people are curious what's happening with Franco from the company of Hunters and Franco, so there was another gentleman, I think it was Jacob Franco, first name. I'm not sure what was the first name. So he actually immigrated to UK few years after Mr. Upman immigrated to Cuba, and they were friends. They were both German. He became the main importer of H. Upman in UK. Obviously way before Monte Cristo. And so we moving further down the line, we go into 1963, where those two gentlemen, Franco and Hunters, they decide to cooperate together to merge together, creating Hunters and Franco. And from 1963, they were the sole importer of the Cuban cigars. So that's the short story, long, if I can call it that way. I mean, it's a lot more I can talk about the historical plan, but this is the story. That's how the Monte Cristo brand was created, from the British importer. He's the one who did the design. I hope you learned something new. It was, yeah. I knew the story. I don't know why it's not that popular, because it's an interesting history. I can even elaborate a little bit more after that. So, Menendez and Garcia, the people who created the Monte Cristo, when the revolution happened, they obviously was taken from the it was taken from the Castro and the government. So they immigrate to Spain. I don't know if a lot of people know about it. They tried to make cigars in Spain. This is 1960s, but unfortunately it didn't happen because there was already protection of the name. So they cannot create Monte Cristo in Spain. I think around that time they create Monte. It was another cigars. There was a Condal and another brand which have a very similar to Monte Cristo brand, but is made obviously in the Canary Island. And they move out from the Canary Islands as well. They move to Dominican Republic when they start the Monte Cristo, the non-Cuban Monte Cristo, which obviously years later was bought from Altadis and now is owned by Altadis. But that's another fact which I don't think a lot of people know. The same person who created the non-Cuban Monte Cristo actually created the Cuban Monte Cristo. So just because he was kicked out from Cuba, that's why he go to another country and start that brand. I don't think it's the same for the other brands. Obviously, ep.1 is like 100 years older brand than Monte Cristo, so I don't think anyone related to the German banker Henrik Upmann will be creating this brand out of Cuba. So I think Monte Cristo is the only brand which have connection somehow between the Cuban and the non-Cuban version. Nice. What was saying Andres? I'll go back to your comment. Gurkha Grand Reserve Robusto tastes like Cointreau. Okay, Andre, you are jumping into the rumors. Okay, I've heard that rumor as well. I've heard the rumor as well. Let's say that not me directly, but people who I know, they ask people from Hunters and Franco about that. Of course, they decline. They say nothing like that's happening. But yeah, me too. I like spicy topics as well, so I don't mind talking about spicy stuff. Again, this is not a sponsored show from anyone, from anywhere, any person, any brand or anything. So I don't mind telling whatever I think about the brands. I'll try to be clear as possible, even if my English is not the best one. But yeah, the rumors about Hunters and Franco, they came out probably a couple months ago. I've heard them again from different sources recently. I reckon maybe they have something on the table. I don't think anyone from Gemma's Freeman family wants to take over maybe after her, and now they probably have a good offer. I'm sure the Chinese tried to buy them years ago, but I mean, Hunters and Franco is a statement, is a staple in the industry. You know, even when I'm at work in the lounge, there's most of the Chinese customers or people from Asia coming to buy cigars. They always want the Hunters and Franco stamp. They want the EMS stamp. For them, that's the most important. Even if they ask for a box of, I don't know, let's say Siglo 6 or Cuiva Robusto, they will not buy it if they don't have that stamp, even if it's cheaper. They literally want the stamp for them it's a symbol of quality, maybe statement. So that's why maybe Chinese people try to build the whole company so they can put the stamp on more cigars. Who knows? So I think soon we'll be ending the live. This will be a that kind of episodes. I'll try to keep them short, not to bother people with that much nonsense. Oh, Andre wants to add something. They will pivot their focus like Bond Roberts with the Honduran cigars. I don't think. I think Bond Roberts are very different from Hunters and Franco. Hunters and Franco was a they're more Cuban-esque guys. Bond Roberts, yeah, they do the auction. They sell, they do all kind of stuff with the Cuban cigars, but their market is a little bit different, and maybe they realize sooner or later that Cuba will decline more and more of their production. Obviously, this year Cuba produced 10 million cigars less than last year, so we're already declining heavily. So just I can add some, into the those streams. I'm gonna, guys, from time to time I'm gonna jump to random facts which I know and I want to share with you. So it might be not a very coordinated way of talking, but when I have something in my mind, I'll tell it. So back in the time, Cuba produced, let's say Cuba in its peak in the 1900s somewhere, they were producing 350, 400 million cigars by themselves. Last year, Cuba produced about 45, 50 million. So you can see what we're talking about. For 120, 30, 40 years, they declined 10 times more, even close to 10 times. So it's, I don't know. It's really, really bad for the Cuban industry. But hey, this is it. Cubans are Cubans. Nobody can change their opinion. So yeah, guys, I was saying this will be the format of the show pretty much. I have a few other surprises, but let me establish first a decent connection and lives on time and everything before start doing more interesting surprises. I'll try to post some interesting comment topics from time to time. And yeah, I think it was a decent one for the first episode, with the exception with the half an hour technical difficulties. I'll try next time to be. I'm going to use the same settings as now, so we won't have any technical difficulties, and we'll be on time. Next Monday, next Monday, 8 o'clock. Will be another portion of interesting topics, news, rumors, if you want to call it that way. There's already a few rumors this evening, even if they wasn't in the scenario. So yeah, no. Thanks for the good words, guys. Again, it's I'm very new into this type of stuff. It will take time until I manage to do all the technical aspects and technical bits, and maybe create more of a coordinated type of show. But thanks for the support, for everything, for all the kind words. And I will probably post something tomorrow, just to give you a brief idea what we're going to talk next week. And in the meantime, now I can say share it, like it, etc., etc. You know what to do. Let's make the channel bigger and bigger. The bigger the channel, the more interesting surprises I can have. Thank you. Thanks for everyone. And I will see you next week. Thank you.